What if I told you that loneliness isn't always a matter of choice, or even purely psychological? What if it begins deep inside the immune system? Today we're going to explore a hidden link between inflammation and social behavior, how the body's immune system can shape our desire to connect or disconnect from others. We tend to think of social withdrawal as a product of depression, trauma, or personality, but recent studies in neuroscience, immunology, and psychology are converging on a radical new insight. Inflammation itself can nudge the brain away from social interaction. This video will take you through that journey, from molecular signals like IL-6 and TNF-alpha to altered brain circuits to evolutionary adaptations gone rogue. Let's start with how inflammation even touches the brain. Inflammation doesn't stay confined to the body. Even though the brain is protected by the blood-brain barrier, pro-inflammatory cytokines like IL-6, IL-1B, and TNF-alpha can influence brain function in multiple ways, either by crossing the barrier or by signaling through neural and humoral pathways. Let's focus on three key brain regions. Number 1, the anterior cingulate cortex, the ACC, involved in regulating emotional and physical pain and detecting social conflict. Number 2, the insula, which integrates bodily sensations into emotional awareness. Number 3, the amygdala, the threat detector of the brain, often hyperactive in anxiety and social rejection. When inflammation is present, these regions light up in a very specific pattern. The reward centers of the brain, such as the ventral striatum, become less responsive, especially to the social stimuli like faces, eye contact, or praise. This can blunt the positive reinforcement we normally get from social interaction. At the same time, the amygdala and the ACC become more sensitive. Social slights, perceived rejection, or even neutral cues can feel threatening. This tilt in brain processing encourages isolation, not connection. The end result, people feel more emotionally threatened by others and less motivated to engage with them. It's not all in their head, it's in their immune state. This social withdrawal mechanism didn't evolve by accident. It's part of a well-documented behavioral syndrome called sickness behavior. When animals, including humans, get infected, the immune system launches an inflammatory response. But along with fever and fatigue, we also see behavioral changes. Loss of appetite, reduced movement, lack of interest in the environment, and crucially, social withdrawal. Why? From an evolutionary perspective, withdrawing during illness conserves energy for healing, minimizes exposure to predators, reduces the spread of infection to the group. In the short term, this is adaptive, but in modern life, inflammation doesn't just come from the pathogens. It's now chronically triggered by stress, poor diet, sedentary behavior, sleep loss, and even emotional trauma. That means sickness behavior, especially social disconnection, can become chronic too. We're stuck in an outdated biological script. Here's a paradox. Loneliness and inflammation aren't just linked, they reinforce each other. Research shows that people who feel lonely or socially rejected exhibit higher levels of inflammatory markers like CRP and IL-6. This isn't just a correlation, it's part of a positive feedback loop. Let's break it down. Number 1, initial inflammation, perhaps from stress, poor health, or trauma, alters brain circuits to reduce the desire for social engagement. Number 2, this leads to increased isolation, which itself is a potent stressor. Number 3, that stress further elevates inflammation, feeding back into the same social avoidance loop. Over time, this creates a state of chronic disconnection. What started as short-term biological protection becomes a long-term psychological prison. This model may underlie certain forms of depression, especially those resistant to traditional serotonin-based treatments. So how do we know inflammation actually causes social withdrawal and not just accompanies it? Let's look at the evidence. Number 1, neuroimaging studies have shown that individuals with higher IL-6 or CRP levels have reduced activation in the ventral striatum, a brain region critical for experiencing reward, including from social cues. Number 2, perceived social isolation directly correlates with inflammation. The lonelier someone feels, the more likely they are to exhibit elevated cytokine levels, independent of health or mood. Animal models seal the case. In studies where mice are injected with lipopolysaccharides to simulate inflammation, they exhibit sickness behavior, including avoiding other mice despite no psychological trigger. The biology here is robust. We are seeing clear causal evidence that inflammation changes how the brain responds to social environments. So if inflammation contributes to loneliness, could reducing inflammation help us reconnect? The answer appears to be yes, at least in some cases. Anti-inflammatory interventions, both pharmaceutical and lifestyle-based, have shown promise. Exercise lowers IL-6 and boosts BDNF, enhancing brain plasticity and mood. Omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA, have shown an anti-inflammatory and antidepressant effects. Mindfulness and meditation reduce CRP and normalize activity in the default mode network, often hyperactive in rumination and isolation. Sleep hygiene is essential. Sleep deprivation significantly raises TNF-alpha and IL-6 levels. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, tailored for loneliness may reduce inflammatory gene expression over time. This represents a new frontier in mental health, an integrative model where treating the body also heals the mind. To wrap up, social withdrawal is not always a sign of personal failing or emotional instability. It may be the echo of an ancient immune signal, one that urges us to rest, retreat, and recover. But when inflammation becomes chronic, that signal backfires, cutting us off from the very connections that we need to heal. By understanding the immune roots of loneliness, we can build better interventions, reduce stigma, and foster a model of mental health that honors both the brain and the body. At EQBloom, our mission is to explore these connections and help you take charge of your emotional and physical well-being, because sometimes the way back to each other starts with healing what's inside.